My name is Hunter Lewis, Test Kitchen Director of Saveur Magazine, and today we're here to make turkey with Riesling, sauerkraut, and pork sausages. First thing we want to do is take a cup of duck fat that I'm melting over medium-high heat, and you can render your own duck fat, save the skin and the fat from when you're cooking ducks throughout the year, or you can buy it from your butcher. Okay, so our duck fat is melting, and I'm going to add 3 onions to the fat, and we're going to do this about medium heat. I want to cook these on a fairly low heat so that it brings out the sweetness. And I want to add a little salt to this too. It'll help break down the onions. It'll cook a little bit faster. While the onions are cooking, we're going to make our bouquet garni. And bouquet garni is typically thyme, parsley, bay leaves. To this we're adding some crushed garlic cloves. We've got juniper berries and some whole cloves. And this is going to cook in the mix and help perfume the turkey. And you could do this, if you're just using the herbs, you can do it with some butcher twine. But for this, I want to keep it out of the mix. So I'm going to tie up the ends of the cheesecloth. It's just a double layer of cheesecloth, just to make a little spice bundle. Nothing fancy. So I'm just going to let these onions cook for about 18 to 20 minutes, partially covered. Okay, so it's been about 18 to 20 minutes, and our onions are cooked. You can tell they've softened and reduced by about half. So now it's time to add the bouquet garni. Nestle that in there. Got a half cup of water and 3 cups of Riesling. What we're going to do is bring this up to a boil and let it go for about 3 minutes to cook off the alcohol, and then we're going to start slicing apples. Okay, so we've got our onions cooked, our wine's been brought up to a boil to cook off the alcohol. Now we're going to combine the sauerkraut and the apples and the wine and get it set up in the roasting pan. And what I've done here is rinse this briefly just to take a little bit of the sourness out. And I'm going to combine 3 apples that have been julienne. You can use Granny Smith. Here we're using Empire. You want something crisp so they don't break apart too much. So mix these 2 together. And then once that's combined, I'm going to take our wine mixture with our onions. You can let this cool a little bit. Just dump that in there. Stir it around. And this is what's going to help to flavor the turkey. You want a deep roasting pan. Anything will do as long as it will hold the amount of liquid that you're using and the size of your turkey. Here we've got about a 10 to 12 pound turkey. So just dump this in and spread it around evenly. You don't want to skimp on this recipe. We're going to use about a pound of slab bacon underneath the turkey. And this is also going to help flavor the mix. And you can serve this on the plate when it's all done. It's going to cook down, get really tender, and start to fall apart. I'm going to add our turkey. So what we want to do is take some of the stuffing, probably about a quarter of it, and just stuff it in to the cavity. It's already hot, so you don't have to worry about it coming up to temp while the turkey's in the oven. And if you want, you could even take the bouquet garni that you put in the wine and the onions and just stick that right inside. So I'm going to hit this with a little bit of salt and pepper. And then we're going to layer the bacon over top. Almost like shingles on a roof. And we'll hold these in place with some toothpicks. Save 2 slices for the legs. couple toothpicks here and there to keep everything intact. All right, then I want to do a layer of parchment over top, and I'm doing the parchment so that the aluminum foil that I'm going to put down is not going to stick to the bacon and discolor it. Got some heavy-duty aluminum foil. You're going to want to use a little more than you think you're going to need to cover, and you want to crimp this very tightly. You can even use a little butcher twine if you want to form a tight seal. The reason why we're doing this is so that you're trapping all the moisture in the steam, and the turkey will cook quicker. It'll also be juicier. Okay, so my foil is crimped tight. We're ready to go into a 350-degree oven for about 3 hours. You're going to want to temp the leg with an instant read thermometer. It needs to come up to 160 degrees. Okay, so the turkey's out of the oven, and I want to show you how to take off the foil. You've got to be a little bit careful because there's so much steam inside. So I just take tongs and come up on the edge and just remove the foil carefully. Oh wow, that smells great. And I'm going to set this aside for about 30 minutes to rest. And while I'm doing that, we're going to cook our sausages and potatoes. You can use anything for this. You can use Italian sausage, anything from the supermarket. We've got knockwurst and bownwurst here. I'm going to cook the sausages in this boiling water first. It's been lightly salted. Then I'm going to pull those out, and I'm going to add the potatoes to the water. The idea being that we're going to flavor the water a little bit with the pork, and then add the potatoes. So just drop them in there, and these are going to cook for about, say about 5 minutes. Okay, our sausages are cooked. I'm going to pull them out. We're going to add 16 peeled potatoes to our pork flavored water. And these potatoes are going to cook for about 15 minutes until they're just tender. Okay, so our turkey is rested for about 30 minutes. Our potatoes are cooked, our sausages are cooked, and it's time to plate up the dish. What I want to do first is to remove the toothpicks and take this bacon away. And then the deal with the skin on this one is, this is not the turkey you're going to make if you want the really crackling, crisp skin. Because it's such a moist cooking environment, you're keeping the turkey really juicy, but it's going to make the skin kind of flabby. So what I do is I just pull it off and set that aside. You can do this with tongs, you can do it with your fingers. It'll come right off. If you really want the skin, you can pop it in some hot duck fat or hot oil and fry it. Have some crackling. And take my knife and I'm going to come right down the breastbone and just want to remove the breast from the carcass. You can tell already how juicy this is. Coming around the wishbone. Just pops right off. All right. Set that aside. And the heat's already done the work for me for the leg. For this, I'm just going to pull it off. It should come right off. And this one's so perfect that it's separating right at the joint. So I've got some of the leg meat there. And you want to come across the grain for this turkey breast. For the leg, you can tell how tender this is. It's just completely falling apart. You just want to shred the meat. All right, so we're set on our turkey, and then I want to take some of the sauerkraut and the apples and the wine that's all cooked together, and that slab bacon that's completely falling apart. And to me, this is the best part about this dish. So you've got this great, flavorful sauerkraut that's mellowed out as it's cooked for several hours. And what's left after you've used up the sauerkraut is this great wine gravy here that I'm going to pour over the turkey. The white meat of turkey is just totally soaking it up. Just arrange however many potatoes you want around the side. Enough for everybody. And it's a big rustic dish, so it doesn't have to be too fancy. Just arrange these around the side. And this dish would not be complete without a big crock of Dijon mustard. You want the spiciest, most tart one you could find, and just serve it on the side. And everybody comes in, takes a spoonful of everything, a little spoon of mustard on the dish. So here you have it. We've got turkey braised in Riesling, sauerkraut, and bacon with pork sausages, potatoes, and Dijon mustard. This is what I'm making for Thanksgiving.